Hello viewers, my name is Permal Jagan. I am so happy to welcome you all once again to my channel. First of all, I wish to apologize for the audio issues you experienced in my earlier videos. I am working out few things to fix those audio issues. You may expect that it will be fixed very soon. This is the second episode of my Linux series. In the first part, we have gone through some basic Linux concepts, its evolution. We have seen the significance of Linux operating systems in the real world. Eventually, we have gone through few basic Linux commands. Let's get to know more about Linux. Come on guys, let's jump into the video. Currently, I'm in my Linux instance which I deployed in the cloud. I also demonstrated it in my last video. By seeing the prompt, by seeing the Linux prompt, you will be able to understand few things. The first part of the prompt represents the current user. I logged in as a root user, and the second part represents the host name of the machine. And can you see this small wave symbol which is called tilde? The tilde symbol represents the home directory. I'm logged in as a root user, so I am in my root user's home directory. I'm in the root user's home directory. Let me verify that also. My present working directory is root directory. It is the home directory for root user. Let me switch the user. You can see the prompt got changed. The user got changed to the customized user, and the host name is same. We can see that I am in the root directory. Let me give command cd, then it will simply move to the home directory of the custom user. For the custom users, home directory will be created like this. It will be inside the home directory. Also, this hashtag and the dollar symbol differentiates the root and custom user. When you log in as either root user or custom user, by default you will be landed in the home directory. One of the core principles of Linux is everything is file. It may be anything. The configurations you are doing, the softwares we installed, or the processes running on a machine, everything will be stored in a file. So it becomes indispensable to learn how to navigate between the directories and files. File operations such as creating, moving, copying, or deleting the files or directories. I am currently in the custom home directory. If I want to see the contents present in this particular directory, I can simply give ls. The ls command simply lists the available contents of the present directory. I cannot see anything. I can get some help to use the flag along with the list command. -a displays the all the files, even the hidden files. Let me try that. Now we can see few of the hidden files. When I use an additional flag -l along with -a, I can see the same output listed with more details. Apart from these flags -l and -a, you can use other flags as well. Apart from listing the contents of current directory, we can also be able to list the contents of other directories. When you mention the particular directory along with the ls command, it will display you the contents of the other directory as well. Second basic command in my list is cd change directory. Cd change directory. When I simply give this command, whichever the directory you may be in, when you give cd command, it will bring you to the home directory. So from here, if I want to move to another directory, I can mention that specific directory to move. Now I move to my previous directory. When I give double dots post the change directory command, it brings me to the previous directory. I am currently in top level directory. This particular directory is the starting point of my Linux machine. You can see some set of directories and files, which is where my entire Linux system is comprised. Each and every directory in this list holds some significant informations which is contributing and make sure the functioning of the operating system. Let me explain the role of these few directories. Let's start with directory bin, binary directory. It contains the bunch of binary files. As we discussed in our earlier videos, machines understand machine language, which is nothing but binary language. When I give some command, the machine somehow understands this command and gives me this particular output. Have you ever think how we are getting this particular output? Since the machine doesn't understand the human language, which is where the files like bin, sbin comes in. This directory contains the binary information of every human readable command. When I switch into bin directory, you can see the various file names, which is nothing but every command. You can see who am I, the command we are using, which is stored as a file. Let me open this file and show you. We are in that file. Can you understand anything? We cannot understand this language because this is the machine language. This is how the binary file is getting stored for each and every command that we are using. The word command will not be apt. We can say it as a tool. Every command is a tool. When I execute the particular command, the Linux system finds the relevant binary file and simply executes that file. There is a command called which. It is used to find the relevant binary directories. Now I am giving one tool. Let's say list tool, ls. Now it shows the path where that binary file is located. Instead giving direct list command, when I execute this particular file, I get the same kind of result. The folder, the directory boot contains the bootloader for the operating system. Bootloader is nothing but it is a piece of code which is required to reboot the machine when the Linux operating system is not found. The bootloader is what used to start the system. You can see the grub file. Grub is basically a bootloader. So the folder boot contains the bootloader and its related files. The folder, the directory dev contains the list of device drivers which plays the major role when a computer peripheral or a particular hardware connected with Linux machine. It contains bunch of device driver files. The folder etc contains the complete configurations files of Linux system. For example, if I create a custom user, the details of the custom users will be stored in the particular directory only. Let me show you. Basically, my user ID related information will be stored in a file called passwd. I am opening that particular file. Here I will be able to see the list of users. I can see my root user and I'm also able to see the other list of users. Finally, I can see the user ID which was created manually. Like this, we have one more folder, shadow, which is where all the password related information of every user will be stored. It also contains the custom user's password, which is in encrypted format. If you plug any external devices such as USB, it will be detected in this media directory. I haven't connected any USB device, so this particular directory is empty. The directory OPT represents the optional directory which simply holds the optional files. Some of the third-party files will be stored here, and the directory PROC simply plays the processes running in the system. I can see various processes are currently running. You can also see the highlighted process ID here. As I mentioned earlier, root directory is the home directory of root user. You can see the TMP, temp directory. Some files will be stored inside this particular directory when the operating system is running. Those files will be erased during the boot up. Let me check, is there any files or contents stored inside this? I can see few files present inside this directory. All these files will get erased during the boot up. And finally, we can see the directory where it contains various logs. It can hold the system logs and can also contain some mail inboxes. Also, when you enable web service in this system, it will hold the web related files inside this particular directory. So far I explained the major function of some of the directories. All these directories and its files are very important for a Linux operating system to run properly. Along with this system defined directories, a user can manually able to create their own directory and files. I am telling the command to create the directories, which is mkdir, make directory, make dir. So I'm giving the directory name. Now the directory has been created in my name. When I list out the contents, I will be able to see the directory which was created in my name. To move into my directory, giving change directory. Now I am in my directory. So far no contents present in my directory. Let me create one particular file. Earlier I created a directory. Now I am creating the file. To create the file, I am using command touch, which is the widely used command. I am creating a file jagan.txt. Now I created a file. Let me show it. The file has been created. If you want to read the content of the file, you can simply use a command called cat space the file name, which will display the content of that particular file. So far I don't have any content in that file, so it is not showing anything. I can add, but no worries, I can add certain contents into that file. In order to edit that particular file, I am using Nano Editor, which is this text-based editor available in the Linux operating systems. When I give nano space the file name, it will navigate and displays me the text editor, which works like a normal text editor like Notepad. You can able to edit anything. You can add some contents. When you need to save this particular content, you have to write out this caret symbol. This cap symbol depicts the control button. So you need to press Control and O. It will simply write out the content. Now it is asking me to save this particular content in this file. I am giving enter. Now I got saved. I need to exit this particular file. I am giving Control plus X to exit this file. Now I did some changes in this file. Let me execute the same cat command now. I can see the content here. Besides Nano Editor, Vim editor is also available, and also there are certain editors to make the change in the files. But Nano Editor is comparatively better to work with, so I prefer Nano Editor over others. Along with the creation and deletion of files and directories, I can also able to copy or move the files. For example, in my custom directory, manually created directory, I stored this particular file. Let me move this particular file to my top level directory. In order to move, we use the command mv and the file name which we going to move and the directory we need to mention to where we are going to move that file. I am going to move this file to the previous directory. So I mentioned the previous directory. I am also renaming this particular file when it moved to the destination directory. So it will be renamed as, I'll give some other name. It will be renamed from jagan.txt to hello.txt when it moved to the previous directory. Now it moved. Let me check whether the file is available in the present directory. It is not, because it has already moved. I am changing the directory to my previous directory. Here I'll be able to see the file which I moved from the custom manually created directory. Let me read the content of the file. I already added some content into that file. I can able to see the same here. Linux also offers the feature to copy the file instead of moving it. I am copying the same file back to that particular manually created directory. In order to take the copy, the command is cp and the file which we are going to take the copy, the original file, and the folder we are going to store the duplicate. I mentioned the directory, and when the file is moved to that particular directory, the duplicate moved to the particular directory, it will be moved in another name. The duplicate will be renamed. Let me give the rename for that. I am again giving the same old name. Now it is done. Let me show you the present directory. It still shows this particular file because it simply duplicated itself, and the duplicate file will be moved to that particular directory. Let me move on to the directory. I'm in the same file. I took a copy from this particular file. I'm keen to introduce one more function which is very interesting. The function is called link function, which is depicted by ln. Let me explain the purpose of this function. In my earlier demonstration, I created a file hello, and I took the copy of the file and I saved it as another file. But these both the files are different. When you make changes in one file, it will not affect the another file. So when we use this particular link function, these two files will be linked together. So when you make change in one particular file, the same change will be replicated in the another linked file also. This function can be used when you want one particular change will be updated over multiple files. Now let me link both the files. The command ln -s. The -s depicts the symbolic linking. Then source file name, destination file name. I already created the hard linking with this particular command. Hard linking and symbolic linkings are little differs. When you mention -s flag when you are using the function link, then it will be considered as symbolic linking. Symbolic linking is simply refers that file which is referring to by using a simple arrow mark, which will be easy for a user to understand which file the actual file is linked to. When I commit a change particular file, let's see what happens. My name is Jagan. Now I made some changes in one file. Let me check whether the same change has been replicated in another file. You can see now I only modified this particular file, but this file got updated automatically because these two files linked with ln link function. So when I am making a change in one file, the same change will be replicated in the linked file as well. Since I am using the hard linking, I am not getting any reference details here when I am using this list command. You can see this arrow mark. Actually, this arrow mark represents the symbolic linking. This particular library file is linked to this particular lib file. In this video, we have seen the details hidden in the prompt and the file system, how the Linux functions based on the file system. We have also seen the binaries, which plays the crucial role while communicating to the machine. We have also seen some of the navigation commands to navigate between the directories and files. We have also seen some commands to handle files and directories. And finally, we have learned about link function. Let's continue this in our next video. If you do like this video, please hit the like button and consider subscribing my channel. Please don't forget to press the bell icon so that you will be notified whenever I am posting the video. Now it is time to sign off. Thank you viewers for watching my video.